A peaceful restaurant becomes the place where dragons, monsters, and secrets collide. Spoilers ahead. This is a Korean manhwa recap about Ellison, a young chef trying to run a restaurant in a fantasy world that absolutely refuses to stay peaceful. One day he is serving food, the next he is dealing with mages, dragons, nobles, monsters, and people carrying grudges older than the menu. But here is the thing. Food is not just the cute gimmick. Food becomes payment. Food becomes diplomacy. Food becomes the one warm thing people reach for when magic and politics start tearing everything apart. After the earlier setup, the story moves into a stretch where the cozy restaurant starts touching much older dangers. The new stretch starts with conversation, not combat, and that makes it feel more dangerous. Inside a building or restaurant-like space, the group talks around something personal, possibly a celebration or a moment someone once recognized. The exact words are hard to pin down, but the emotional shape is clear. People are trying to understand each other before the world outside interrupts. Then the setting slips into pale blue winter, with figures moving through a cold outdoor landscape. The warmth of food and rooms gives way to snow, distance, and darker blue shadows. Someone seems to have stayed longer than expected, and someone else wonders why certain feelings are only being faced now. Okay, so nothing explodes yet. But the story is already moving the restaurant's people toward a colder problem waiting outside. The group pushes deeper into the blue-toned, magical environment, and now the cold feels less like weather and more like a clue. Ellison and his companions appear to study something connected to ice, spirits, or a strange monster, while a light-haired girl stands close enough to the mystery to make every reaction matter. The conversation seems to circle around whether this discovery is treasure, repayment, or part of a larger agreement, and that uncertainty is important because fantasy worlds love hiding danger inside generous gifts. Then the mood bends darker. The scene shifts away from clean blue magic into red-brown hostility, with red-haired and dark-clad figures moving through a violent space. Blood-colored power gathers, demonic shapes appear, and a red-armored or monster-like presence closes the beat with one message. The ice is only the surface. A violent magical clash hits first, red energy, purple-black force, and a blast powerful enough to make the whole scene feel unstable. Then, almost like the story is teasing you, everything cuts back to the restaurant. Plates are served. Adventurer-like guests gather. Ellison works around food, customers, and conversation as if normal routine can hold the world together by itself. But watch this. The quiet is not safety. The restaurant is starting to attract the exact kind of people who should never sit too close to civilians. Suspicious figures drift around the edges, strange markings and red, demonic signs appear, and the same hostile energy from outside begins circling the place where everyone eats. By night, the danger is no longer far away. Something is moving toward the restaurant, and it knows exactly where to look. The scale suddenly jumps. This is no longer a kitchen problem or a strange customer problem. Powerful beings clash in a dark magical space, and the battlefield turns into a storm of elements. Fire surges against blue-white ice or water, green light flares like a spell or barrier, and purple magic coils through the chaos with the weight of something ancient. A black-haired mage-like young man stands near the center of the pressure, while dragon-like creatures and armed fighters react around him. The scary part is not just the damage. It is what the fight represents. When beings this powerful start trading blows, one wrong attack can become politics, vengeance, and war. By the end, a huge purple force appears, someone demands the violence stop, and a dragon-like warning hangs over everyone. Keep going, and this becomes a catastrophe. After the battlefield nearly breaks open, the story tightens into a darker kind of fear. Under a night sky, a caped figure stands over or beside a weakened man who looks cornered, distressed, and close to begging. It feels like judgment is about to land. Then an unseen command cuts through the moment, and everything freezes. That interruption matters, because it means the fighters are not alone. Someone else has authority here, or at least enough power to force hesitation. The scene sinks into purple shadow, and a frightened blue-haired young man reacts as if he has just understood the size of the thing watching him. A massive supernatural eye dominates the exchange, turning the whole conflict into something more controlled and more sinister. The message is simple. The strongest hand has not fully revealed itself yet. The danger returns to a dark, icy battlefield, where Ellison and his allies face a hooded or shadowy enemy wrapped in purple force. Around him, companions tense up, but the dark-haired mage remains terrifyingly composed. Blue energy gathers and spreads into ice-like shapes, possibly spears, crystals, or barriers, pushing back against the enemy's aura with clean, controlled power. For a moment, it looks like precision can solve this. Then the fight mutates. Fire enters the scene, huge and violent, taking the form of a flame-covered creature or warrior that turns the cold battlefield into a furnace. The clash becomes blue control against burning aggression. And when the story finally returns to a calmer indoor space, the peace feels thin. They have survived the impact, but nobody leaves that kind of battle unchanged. Back in the restaurant, Ellison serves an old white-haired mage a special plum liquor, and this is where the story quietly drops one of its biggest clues. The drink is simple on the surface: fruit, syrup, thyme, and patience. The old man tastes it and enjoys it like someone remembering a much longer life than he admits. Ellison notices that, presses him about what he has seen, and the conversation turns toward dragons. Not just any dragons, either. Black dragons. The old mage explains that dragons can use polymorph, but the sharper idea is that true mastery may mean becoming human in more than appearance. That lands hard, because Ellison starts wondering whether someone close to him is tied to dragon nature. Outside, Sydney confronts a wounded red-haired man and a beast-like shadow tests her, while a villager later pays with a massive rock salt-like slab. Suddenly, even payment feels suspicious. The group moves away from the restaurant into rough travel, and the world immediately reminds them why comfort is rare. They pass through rocky, snowy, forested terrain, only for red-orange flame to erupt ahead of them. The fire swells into something huge, bird-like or spirit-like, and the travelers brace as heat and debris tear across the scene. A fighter or mage confronts the blaze directly, but the encounter leaves exhaustion behind. Then the tone shifts, and the joke is almost cruel. After monsters and firestorms, the real camp crisis is food. The usual cook is unavailable, meals taste awful, and everyone realizes Ellison has ruined their standards by proving food can actually be good. They try to improve things themselves, and a young man proudly presents soup. It is funny, but the pressure is real. Once people taste comfort, survival alone is no longer enough. The story opens on a firelit room at night, and the atmosphere is heavy before anyone explains anything. A figure stands near someone seated or fallen, while a young man reacts like he is carrying fear inside his chest. Soon after, daylight returns and food is served again, with Ellison and the others gathering around the restaurant's familiar warmth. But the safety does not last. A red-haired woman, a blonde elf-like woman, a dark-haired companion, and other allies move between the restaurant and the nearby forest, while a small blue magical creature or spirit keeps appearing near them. What nobody can ignore is the fire imagery pressing back into the story: flames, a red demonic armored figure, and a burning battlefield. The restaurant feeds people, yes, but it cannot fully protect them from memories that are still alive. Elena steps into focus, and everything starts feeling staged. She appears tense, almost emotional, while a monstrous face reacts with ugly delight. Then a man in a forest clearing raises his arms and loudly accepts a proposal or challenge, exactly the kind of reckless moment that makes you realize someone wanted him to agree. A watcher believes the bait has worked. From there, the path leads through forest travel, a dark ruin or cave, and a huge horned beast looming over people inside. The explanation threads are messy but dangerous. Lady Arwen, brainwashing, hidden disgrace, noble or divine authority, and missing women all seem tied into the same forest mystery. The group searches a settlement and a secret passage, only to run into a powerful beast underground. A white-haired woman unleashes a huge golden spell, But the ending circles back to Elena, and her real plan is still not safe to trust. What makes this arc work is the constant collision between comfort and catastrophe. The restaurant is supposed to be the safe place, the one room where people argue over taste instead of dragon politics, demonic magic, or old disgrace. But every meal pulls in someone with history. The old mage brings dragon lore. The rock salt brings memory. Bad camp food proves how much Ellison has changed everyone's idea of normal. And Elena's forest trap shows that the outside world is no longer waiting politely beyond the door. Ellison's gift is not only cooking. It is the way he keeps dangerous people close enough for the truth to rise. The problem is that truth now has claws. Subscribe for the next manhwa recap. Because Elena's mystery is still open, the forest is not safe, and the restaurant may have become the most dangerous table in the realm.